Hey there, my name is Mike Goldman. Welcome to On the Mic. Today, we're talking to Jesse Williams, NFL superstar, Seattle Seahawks, 2 times in the Super Bowl, 2 times national champion, college football. Jesse Williams, welcome to the show. Mate, what an incredible run you had.
Yeah,
what a ride.
Yeah, it tied in pretty well, actually. I think I was lucky enough to be around some good guys and good teams, and I guess winning is a good byproduct of that.
And it looks like you got out of Dodge about the right time, too.
Yeah, I think it would be a little bit different if I was still over there, but yeah, a little bit easier over here.
Mate, we have a lot to talk about today. Your incredible NFL career, the college football career. You've had so many ups and downs in your life, injuries. We want to talk about Corona. I want to talk about the NFL, if it's actually going to continue, all the riots and the protests and the Black Lives Matter. We'll talk about your artistic career, your incredible photos on Instagram, and that's what you do now. You're a photographer, and you're working towards being an actor. And also, if you're up for talking about it, your cancer journey as well. So many crazy stories, my friend.
Yeah, pretty hectic at the moment. Obviously, multiple things that are popping off at the moment in the U.S., and it's definitely keeping everyone busy, keeping people on their toes with the Black Lives Matter movement and the marches, and obviously the NFL. And where I was in the South is there's a lot of African Americans and different types of people that are playing in the NFL and in college football. That's
Sweet home Alabama.
Absolutely, and it's quite a strong message and stance that's being taken. And then you mix in all the COVID stuff. It's very hectic.
Let's talk about COVID firstly and how it is in America and what's going on there. I don't think they're taking it as seriously as Australia.
The U.S. is so big, so many people, and people. The one thing I tell about people, Black Lives Matter or COVID, is don't be undereducated and over opinionated. People are talking about places in the South that aren't big cities and stuff like that, and that's the clips they're seeing, and this is the stuff they're saying, and I think it's a bit misconstrued for people in Australia. But the people I talk to in the U.S., it's definitely generating a lot of weight, and the COVID stuff is causing a lot of hysteria all over, especially a lot of my friends are in sports. So as you can imagine, everything's sort of down the drain for a lot of them.
How is the NFL approaching COVID?
Man, from what my take is, and speaking to people, is that so far everyone thinks everything's all good. The NFL,
but it's not.
The NFL is going to try and take precautions around. I don't know how.
More protective gear.
It's very contradicting. They put a lot of rules in that. After games, you have to be 6 foot away, but, we were just, spitting and sweating and everything over each other.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
And all the heavy breathing, what are they going to do? Put a mask on the
yeah,
the
well,
front of your helmet?
a few companies are looking at making some plastic masks, and I just, after being out playing and seeing what the process is around the games at practice, it's tough, man. Like, you're always around guys, you're always very close, and that's before we even start hitting or tackling or blocking or anything.
Man.
You're covered in everything anyway.
Yeah.
I think the breath is the least of things you're worried about.
Well, when you were the monster, what were you bench pressing and how hard were you training?
I was training very hard. I was known for being above average strength. I was benching around 275, 280.
That's like 3 of me.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
When that's on your body, it's heavy now. Gravity's doing a real swell job of holding that thing down.
You still exercising, trying to get back into it?
Yeah, man. This girlish figure doesn't keep itself, fortunately. I train a lot, man. When I finished my career, I went straight into coaching. It's what I studied in college, and I sort of moved away from that now, but I still train real heavily, and all my friends are in that industry and training. It's sort of like a habit. When you do it for so long, man, I wake up and I'm like, oh, man, I have to, go work out or go for a run or do something. And then the common sense kicks in, like, no, you don't have to do that no more.
So growing up as a kid in Brisbane, you're a rugby league sports star, and then you were playing in the local gridiron competition. What was it like when you first found out that you had a chance to make it overseas?
Man, it was a long process. Like, it was very tough getting over there. That, as people would know, like, I was one of the first ones to really go over there, and we didn't know anything. It was me and my parents, and we were just like, this is dial-up internet. We're trying to call numbers in the U.S., and, like, the NCAA clearinghouse was like, we didn't exist, We were just trying to figure stuff out, and I was lucky enough, a coach, Jerry Dominguez, came over from Arizona Western. It's a small junior college. So junior college is like a stepping stone to another college. So you can put, like, how do I explain? You get to almost like a prep school to be able to get to a Division One.
Yeah.
People can see you. You get recruited from there. You get filmed and whatnot. And he came out and saw me, and I was this big when I was 16, and they were just like,
You were
"Wow,
that big."
I was probably at least 135.
Your parents
kilos.
pretty tall? And
No,
no.
neither. No, me and my brother are both quite large. He's a little bit leaner than me, but I'm much better looking.
What did they feed you?
Everything, apparently. From what I remember, yeah, it was about everything. And then, so they came out and saw me, and I was pretty much, sort of a bit of a man around kids. I was just, sort of wrecking it, throwing kids around and just like crushing everything. And he pretty much just said, you got a pretty good opportunity. Like, you got the frame to, and I can run and all this. So you end up going back. This was at the AIS. I did this camp, and I come back to Brisbane, and my family, going through how everything went and talk about this NFL stuff and trying to go to the US. And yeah, pretty much, tell my parents, like, this is what I want to do. This is what we're going to try and push. And, didn't have a lot of options in Australia from the position I was in. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So we just started saving money and, connecting with these guys and going back and forth and how to sort everything out. And end up working 3 jobs and with the support of my family, saved enough because I didn't get a scholarship. This is what people don't understand. I didn't get a scholarship.
I thought you had a scholarship to get there. You came from Thursday Island? Or
Yeah, well, that's
where
where my family's from. And yeah, we're all in Brisbane now. But
so you had to get over there yourself. How hard was it to get that money together?
One semester I think was like $9,000 US, and that was just for the school. That wasn't like where you want to live or that sort of stuff. So we saved up all this money, paid for the schooling, and the school's like, if you come over and play well, and then we'll put you on scholarship.
Yeah.
And I was like, essentially for me, it was like do or die, like it's in the movies, it's just like that scene where it's like, this is where everything sort of begins.
Is that going through your mind when you're out there on the field? This is it. This is my only chance. I have to win this. Otherwise, I'm going back to Australia. And you had more to risk.
Yeah, more than most guys. And if you saw me out there, like, I'm already crazy off the jump. So I was playing like it was my last, almost every time I stepped out there. And I used it to my advantage. I played that whole season. I flew over. I had $275, and I had the coach's name, Jerry Dominguez, his phone number written in my passport. That's all I had when I left. I left Australia. I was like, "Oh, see ya, family." Never left.
How old were you?
17.
Wow, that's
and I was
crazy.
my family. Now I look back, I'm like, "Yo, that was mad wild." And but went over there, and it was just like, I just have to do everything I absolutely can to make it and do this, and I did that. I was eating ramen noodles and fresh air the whole year, and
you still kept the size on.
Yeah, well, actually, when I was there, I was cutting weight pretty hard because it was so hot in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And then I played the season. I ended up just crushing it. And then the next season, I was the number 1 player in the whole country. So,
number 1?
Yeah, in the whole country. And
so when the pick finally came up for the actual NFL...
Well, this was so I was the number 1 player in the whole of like recruitable athletes.
Yeah.
So then from there, Alabama, like Nick Saban and that's who then came and got me from junior college. Then I went to Alabama. And that's when I guess that's when Australia was like, oh, this kid's actually, he might do something.
Yeah.
And
it's the biggest sport in America, and in Australia, there's only small gridiron teams. Were you getting a lot of press back here in Australia? Did Australia take notice when you were smashing it over there? You're in the Super Bowl, for God's sakes.
Oh, man, I think there might have been like a few news clippings. My mom has a book full of them.
No, I bet she does.
But there wasn't much love, It was very, pre-Instagram, all that sort of stuff, obviously. So that would have changed a little bit, I feel like. But, there wasn't a lot of love until I got to Alabama. And even then, no one was before me. So they were like, what could this kid possibly do? I'm this young indigenous kid from Australia. Zero football experience at any level worth worrying about. And, I just started clawing away at it. And I got to Alabama. It was just like, all right, same thing again. Just got to, you got to get after it. And I played like, this is my last shot. This is my last shot. And, I was lucky enough I started every game at the University of Alabama, won 2 national championships, was an All-American and, All-American academic and, did the degrees, did everything. And then went to the NFL.
What does your Indigenous heritage mean to you? And is it something that you think about when you used to play?
Yeah, absolutely. My first tattoo when I was 15, I got a tattoo of, it's called a dari, which is a warrior headdress from where I'm from, on Thursday Island. And it's what's on the flag of the Torres Strait, and it's a pretty big symbol of, anyone who's from there or knows anything about the culture is like that means something. And it's always been like that. My family's very cultural, and we've been in and around everything around sports, and my mom was in education and all that sort of stuff around indigenous stuff, and it's stuck with us a long time. Especially sort of what I look like with or without tattoos, I get judged off the jump anyway because I'm so big or whatever. So it always meant a lot for me to represent that in a positive way. I see a lot of what the negative way was from a very young age, right? And that's why I didn't drink or smoke the whole time, and I really wanted to portray sort of a positive role model from that, and I promised my mum that's what I was going to do, and I did that.
And you must have seen some great reactions from Indigenous kids, meeting their hero after you've done so many great things over there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been actually quite eye-opening. I never really, I guess, bought into the hype of like me being like this role model or inspiration or anything to any type of particular person, and being able to come back and do work now and see kids that looked up to me going over there doing some of the stuff they're doing. And it's crazy, some of the kids, some of the guys that watch me go over are some of the guys that I help now that are gone to the NFL and coming from Australia that are going to college and that sort of stuff like that, and they only went and thought it was achievable because they saw me. And I see that and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. A, I feel mad old now.
Yeah.
And B, it hit me as in I've always been a firm believer. It's not what I did, it was how I did it, in a respectful and positive nature of how I wanted to achieve it. And to see the positive outcome of it affecting others has been important to me.
Well, you must have some great stories, that you'd be sharing with Indigenous kids, and all the media interviews that you had done in the past. I mean, like winning, 2 championships in college football, and then being there for the Super Bowl. I mean, what an incredible feeling! Can you tell us what that was like?
Yeah, it was huge, and I think the national championships the first one was just absolutely wild, and I went from a small junior college, which was like super in the hood, and then to this beautiful country town of Tuscaloosa with the number one, team in the country, and to be able to play and be a part of a round of a national championship, it was just wild. It was wild, and I was playing here down at Birkdale in front of 20 people, and half being my family, to playing in front of 110,000 people every week.
Crazy,
without a doubt, and. It was an emotional at the start, but obviously you sort of have to get used to it really quickly if you want to play good too. But yeah, it was crazy for me, man. Like it definitely shows the depth and I guess the range of my journey has been, from very, very small to, the highest highs.
What's it like being there at the Super Bowl with, 100 and something thousand people screaming? Or they've all paid $10, $20, $30, $50,000 a seat. You got whoever performing, J-Lo or I don't know who was performing the year.
I think it might have been
Black Eyed Peas.
No, because we went to 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
one we won, then we lost the Patriots. We don't talk about the second one.
Okay.
I think one of them was Katy Perry, maybe the first one in New York. And it was crazy. Like the whole week was just being around everything, and I'm not a huge go out of my way to cause attention or being involved with everything, because I'm just like, let me just try and soak in at the level that I can. But there's just so much happening. I just remember in our lobby everything's super secure, and I was like, I've seen Drake and Snoop Dogg and just random people that are just strolling around, and I'm like, what has my life become?
Were you getting selfies or just playing it cool? Because if a massitive dude says, I want a selfie, I'm pretty sure a little tiny celebrity is going to say yes.
No, I would have lost so much respect. But a lot of the time, if we were getting pictures and stuff, we'd get pictures. But it was just crazy. Some of the people, a lot of actors.
Who was the biggest name you met?
Well, Drake came out to practice. I like country music. Kenny Chesney came out. I've seen Obama 3 times.
Yeah, what was that like? Because you went to the White House.
Yeah, I went to the White House 3 times with the national championship and the Super Bowl. And, he's got super soft hands.
He must moisturize. What's his secret? Oil of Olay?
Very much.
Did you ask what his secret was?
I didn't have enough time. I was too busy thanking him for letting me be in the country. But it was an amazing experience. And I look back on the photos, and for me, being a young Indigenous kid from the south side of Brisbane with, next to nothing from the start, and being covered in tattoos, having 2 degrees and standing in the White House shaking the president's hand, I see these pictures and I'm like, okay, man, maybe I did some stuff with my life so far. And it shows a better relativity for me when I get, out of my head. I'm like, man, I still haven't done anything or achieved anything. I look at these things and I'm like, well, it's, quite crazy. But in the time, in the moment, you're just like, it's all a whirlwind. Like the 10 years when I was in the U.S., it just felt like this huge, just crazy whirlwind. I was just getting blown around, and it was a lot of training and hitting people and working hard and connecting and meeting all different types of people, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I'm trying to replicate the next 10 or however many years I got left in some sort of quality like I did the 10
Do you miss the US? Do you want to go back to live there ever, or
is
Brisbane home now?
No, Brisbane home for right now. I'd love to get back to Alabama in the South and sort of get ducked off in the country a little bit. I love the U.S. I love going back multiple times a year, especially for, some of the stuff I like doing now. And most of my friends are over there. I was there almost my whole adult life, from the age of 17 to 28, 27. So it was a big part of me, yeah.
So going to Alabama, especially with the whole Black Lives Matter thing at the moment, I know you got a lot of friends there. What was it like playing in the Deep South? Has Alabama come a long way, do you think, or is there still a few problems there?
I think it's
in the Deep South.
The South is very different. South is very different. There's been a few instances where it's affected me quite personally. People and the guys that are around me, due to some of the older thinking that might be in the culture there. But I think that the younger crowd that's coming up and the people that are around that and the people that I'm connected with that are moving towards essentially a better situation for everybody, I think it is going to develop a bit more. It's always going to have that, that Bible Belt backwoods sort of country sort of vibe. Even though I love it, I love the South, with everything. But like anywhere, this place is where we can improve, especially the thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you obviously got a lot of friends who you have back there in Alabama and in the US, New York, that are going to the protests. I believe you went over and shot one of the first Black Lives Matter rallies. What was that like?
Yeah, it was wild. I actually, the march in Brisbane, which was one of the bigger ones, about 30,000, I reckon. And it was originally, I didn't go to shoot it. I went to march with my mother. Obviously, she's a proud indigenous woman that stands for, similar things to I do. And it was a pretty powerful moment to be there. And I took the camera, A, because I always carry a camera with me. It's just how I am. And B, because I wanted to get photos of her, just as part of the story of our lives. And I was just lucky enough to be in the situation where this 30,000 people, this peaceful protest turned into this, really quite powerful setting for some of these really wild moments and situations that I saw and photographed.
Well, we only saw the short clips on the news. So what do we miss? What could you say to someone out there that doesn't really know a lot about the Black Lives Matter movement? I mean, they saw it begin as a police brutality thing, and it's kind of evolved into something so much more now. And I think it means something different in a lot of ways to Australia as it does to America. Would you agree?
Yeah, there's a huge, I think, police brutality and that sort of aspect on the Black Lives Matter movement in Australia. And I think it's really moving in just, equality and the perspective of what everyone has of, others that are around. And Australia being a multicultural place, it's still...
We've still got a way to go.
It still has a way to go. And, what really disappointed me was I saw people of, great influence posting about where to donate for people in the U.S., where to donate to Minneapolis police, or the funds that were, helping people in the U.S., which is all good and fine, but the same things happen in the back streets of Brisbane, the back streets of Sydney, the back streets of Melbourne, and even more so in the communities that are around Australia. And that's what it was really about, especially in Australia, with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community, with, the Islander, the Polynesian community, all groups involved. It was really about, change the perspective. And it's just about that equality and how everything is seen by not just these minority groups, but the wider Australia.
What do we need to do moving forward?
I think everything. I get that question a lot. For me, the biggest thing is perspective. A lot of these situations, whether it's death in custodies, the gap between wider Australian and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander health expectancy rates, schooling, education, communities, everything is going to start with perspective. And a lot of these people just don't see all these other things. I can see that because when they post about it, they're posting about things 10, 15,000 miles away when it could be happening 1.5 kilometers away from where you are right now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to change with perspective and noticing what's around you. And that's going to, for a lot of people, that's going to start internally and what they think of certain situations. And hopefully they can learn a little bit and make up their own decision without just jumping on the bandwagon of like, this is what I'm going to think. This is what I'm not going to think. This is how I'm going to think. Is really educate themselves, learn about it for themselves, and then move forward in their lives. You know, everyone's going to have different outlooks and experiences, whether you're raised in Goondiwindi or if you're raised in Brisbane City or Brisbane or western suburbs of Sydney or you're raised in the Thursday Island. Everyone's outlook's going to be different, but I think everyone's perspective has to change to no colors, but really what's right.
Yeah.
What's right.
I mean, Martin Luther King, I mean, he said that's the worst thing you could possibly do is, you know, see someone for their color. Just see them as a human being.
Absolutely.
You know, black, white, whatever color you are. And, you know, we just got to all support each other in every way we can. But do you think that there are sections of the community that need a leg up, that we need to help in more ways than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, with a lot of stuff I do now around the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community is giving a voice to people that don't always have a voice. And there's a lot of injustice out there. And I think, you know, Australia is slowly adjusting to seeing these smaller groups for the powerful things they are able to do. And I think, I think Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people should have a lot more say in multiple things, you know, from, you know, land rights to government, to health, to policing, in their own ways. And I'm hoping a lot of the movements that are currently happening in Australia and the world sort of move everything in that direction a little bit. It's not going to happen this week. It's not going to happen this year. But the steps, you know, if we go to the best possible outcome and work my way back, I'm hoping the steps are positive to that at the moment.
Do you think the right people are involved behind the scenes in the Black Lives Matter movement? Because there's been some criticism about it getting very political. I mean, especially in America, you see straight away the Democrats are putting on, you know, the African jerseys and they're doing the fist salute and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of feel like it's, just sort of jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video, all the actors like Aaron Paul and crying his eyes out. And I don't know if they were just trying to get some exposure because they weren't getting the acting work at the moment. But it's something that just doesn't feel right about some people who I feel like are just jumping on board. Or should we just be making as much noise as we can? It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, at the moment, I think a lot of it is just the people of great influence is just like use it to shine a light on some people that don't have that, that are doing the right thing. You know, with any situation, good or bad, there's going to be people that are going to take advantage of it, right? You know, there's opportunity in the midst of every adversity. And I think the political stuff, the work stuff, the people trying to, you know, get a little bit of attention, I think that's definitely going to be twisted throughout that. And, you know, we're hoping that the people that are doing it with great authenticity, it sort of weeds out the other ones a bit quicker. But, man, it's hard to say. I see a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm just like, you know, I just want to know what it's like behind the scenes of when you just posted that or what is actually the feeling behind a lot of it. Because I see people and I'm like, judging by the last 10 years of what you've been posting, this looks like a complete black flip.
Yeah.
But which is fine if you want to completely, you know, do a backflip and change and start leading in the right direction. But, yeah, you have to
be careful.
You sort of have to be real careful how we do that too.
That stuff's out there forever. You ever post stuff and go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have posted that. You don't give a shit, do you? It's no, this is me.
I honestly don't. I'm pretty opinionated when I post, and I've always stood for the same things. You know, I never was just like, I'm just going to start doing this now. And when I do, much like when I speak, I try and think about it a lot. And I think that a lot of people do that, especially when they're posting.
You speak quite well.
I try to.
You've got a brain in that noggin. Oh,
fingers crossed. It's been banged around a lot now.
You did study at college, and you had to get that scholarship. Do you think we should have the same situation here? I know we're steering off the topic a bit with rugby league, because so many rugby league players are such boneheads and always getting themselves in trouble. Maybe if we had some sort of education system backing it up, where they had to study to be able to play, in high school, university, I guess rugby does in a way.
I have worked with the NRL before. In speaking with them a bunch and spoken to a lot of football players, and my biggest thing is the structure. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you got, how many people you got helping, how many trainers, how many whatever wellness people. It's the structure these guys go through. You know, it's kind of backwards. In the NFL, I did that associate's degree, and then I did my human sciences degree. Then, once I graduated, walked across stage with a piece of paper, I then had the opportunity to try and get money. Well, you got guys here, 15, 16, getting these sweatshirt, you know, contracts where they're just getting cash, you know, grade 11, 12, and they're getting 60 grand thinking they hit the lotto, when really they're just signing away their soul for the cheapest price the team can afford. And they're missing huge chunks of their development. You know, I went into the NFL at a 22, 23, after learning from all these great players that would come back and give back. Then now it's learning from all these old players that were doing, you know, business, taking care of their health, you know, how to take care of your marriage, how to do all this sort of different things. And the NRL doesn't quite have that, you know,
we
unfortunately.
need that because they're sitting on their ass all day when they're not training, trolling Instagram for chicks. They've got nothing else to do. I mean, sure, they have their integrity unit or whatever in the NRL, and they'll have Koshy probably come into his favourite team and tell them what they should be investing in to plan for their future, but they don't listen.
I think you know, the worst thing is that it takes bad things to happen for a good change to sort of get a roll on. And I've been saying it for so many years of just around mental health. I see these guys get literally chewed up and spat out the other side, really, really needing help. And I'm like, they should have got that when they signed up. At least a skill set to develop these things.
So the NRL's to blame, really.
Well, I think the whole structure is, you know, that they're trying. You know, I worked closely with the wellness guys, and they're really putting a lot of effort in, but unfortunately, it's going to start all the way back here before anything's going to get seen. You know, so it's a hard slog for them.
Who's your team? Brisbane.
I think, usually the Broncos, right? So
go Manly.
Paul White's a good friend of mine. I know a bunch of the guys there, and I try and go down there and support them, and
cool.
Through thick and thin.
They're a bit rough right now. What's going on with the Broncos now?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm waiting for the call up, man. My phone is Paul. I'm like,
would you get on?
Paul? no,
I can see you playing front row.
I probably could, man.
Help.
I'd probably have to train for a few months, get the fitness back up, and get the wheels under me again, and then get going.
You don't have a manager. I can make some money here.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Paul White, man, hit my phone. But no, I still support them. I'm guilty by association. You know, I'm from the 4170 on the south side, so I got to rep the city. And you know, the Broncos supported me when I was playing. They were sending me jerseys when I was in Seattle and stuff like that. So I'm always going to be for them. Always going to be for Queensland.
For the 4170. I got to start saying that. I'm the 4171.
Nah, see, 4170 is what I got it tattooed on my neck. Man.
Are you serious? Yeah, I was thinking about getting 4171 maybe. Yeah. You think it'll suit me?
You could work it in.
Just start with that and just sort of
start on the face and work your way up. Do the opposite.
Speaking of art, you're a work of art. Tell us about your tats.
Man, it originally started, like I said before, when I was like 15. I just walked. I was in the valley in Brisbane, and I just walked down and I had cash. I think it probably was for my birthday, and I just went and got tattooed. No questions, no questions asked, which is pretty funny.
What was the first one you got?
I got that Durry, the headdress, the warrior headdress.
Oh, that was the one.
That was the one. And then from there, it just became like this journal for me because I was always traveling, and I've been lucky enough to. Once you start getting tattooed and you start looking like me, people that like doing tattoos start becoming your friends a lot, because they're like,
I can make money out of this guy.
Tattoos, So I was lucky enough, I was being tattooed all over from, Atlanta, Hawaii, Seattle, doing, Jesse sort of things. And, it just sort of just became a bit of a journal.
It's like a diary.
Yeah, pretty much. And then people sort of lashed onto it and were just like, oh, this guy's crazy and stuff like that. But now it's so mainstream that I I fit in. Most of the kids are like 18 that look like me now, just as tattooed. And mine still.
Have you ever had any scrubbed off?
I was getting the ones on my face lasered off.
Oh, you got ones on your face?
Yeah. Hey. They're real faded at the moment. And
why did you get them off?
Well, they were already fading because I was in the sun so much coaching. Yeah. I didn't want to get them all redone because I would look like the biggest tryhard ever. Like all the face.
What were they?
That was like a Chinese symbol for my son. And these ones are still, that had like FOE, which is family over everything. And a few other things. And it sort of was just like a decision to just get it. If I get new ones down the road, we'll think of that. But because they were just so like when I was doing photo shoots, I was getting photos. It just didn't look that good. So I was like, man, I need to start getting rid of these things. But those are the only ones. And it's way more painful than putting them on there, I tell you that.
You're obviously a photographer. Your Instagram's awesome.
Yep.
You shot the BLM march. What kind of photography are you doing, and how are you heading into the art direction?
Yeah, for me, for me it's just storytelling. I've done story. I get paid to go and talk and use my story as an example, an experience piece, and to me it gets really boring. Telling my own story, and I love connecting with people and talking and listening. I like hearing other people's stories. I'm not the only person that's done anything crazy. I like hearing other people's crazy stories. And photography is just something that I picked up when I was in college, so probably about 8 years ago, and I sort of moved into more commercial stuff and the more expensive gear, and then shooting a bit better, and I got really good. And at the moment I just try and focus around storytelling, and for me that's at the moment around a lot of stuff to do with the culture and just portraiture. I love shooting people. I love hearing people's stories and being able to portray that through photography. And I've been lucky enough to work with some local people, and a lot of photos I've gotten of crazy people, they just happen to be friends of mine, and I've done some super cool things here and in the US, and I'm looking to do a lot more, especially around some of the topics that are around at the moment. And it's a different path, and I think it's a lot tougher than football. It's way more vulnerability involved. People see you as this big, tough, strong guy, and that's fine. That can be portrayed. But
how hard is it to go from being the big, tough guy on the football field to being an artist, a photographer?
Yeah, for me, extremely easy. For everyone else seeing that, extremely hard. Especially with photography, when you put your work out there, a portfolio. I put my website up a few months ago when I updated everything and some of the shots, and it's like you sort of opening up to the world essentially of what I'm seeing, how I see it, or whatever. And it's quite nerve-wracking, right? Until you start getting some people like, oh, it's pretty good. I'm like, oh, thank God. And it's quite tough to make that sports to arts jump and be successful. The arts is a tough place to break into if you're not brought up through that. Or
would you ever act? You got a great look.
Yeah, handsome is a good look. You're right. No, I want to. I've come in contact with a few guys. The Wayne Blairs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Wayne's a
I'm
legend.
waiting for the neighbors call up. I'm like,
doesn't Wayne Blair want to shoot your life story? Why don't you give him a call?
We should. If he's always wanted to, I'm sure there'd be a great Netflix series on.
Call Wayne Blair. let's see if he answers.
Let's see if he does.
Yeah, he'll answer. Calling Wayne Blair. He's probably editing one of his movies or something.
Hey, Mikey, how are you, bro?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, good, bro. I'm just in a meeting at the moment, but I'll call you back. I'm going to be 15 minutes. I'll give you a call straight back.
I'm here with Jesse. He wants you to shoot a movie about his life story.
Oh, Farty, hell.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Hey, good, bro. I'm just finishing. I'm just in bloody Sydney. I fly to Adelaide tomorrow for a month. I've got a quarantine. I'm doing a little acting gig.
Ooh. Man, you're much busier than me and Mike then.
No, I'm just in Sydney, so I can't wait to get to that quarantine and just relax then and just bloody do a bit of training and stuff. Hey, I should get your number and let's have it, because I've got so much time on my hands for the next 14 days.
Yeah, man.
Zoom and just have a yarn and have a cup of tea if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's prepping me to get ready for Neighbours. Yeah. He thinks I'm going to be a hit.
We're putting him on Neighbours or Home and Away or something like that. What a legend. Oh, cool. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Oh, mate, I don't do those things.
Oh, it's too late. You're already on.
You did.
No, all good, guys. All good.
All right, bro. We'll give you a call when you're not busy. And we're making his movie. I'm executive producer.
All right. Okay.
See you, man.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever accept my call again as long as...
Every call he's like, are we on a podcast right now? Before he speaks.
Oh, he's a good bloke. But I'll tell you what, if you wanted a director to make your life story, he's so hot right now.
Very.
I mean, dating back to Redfern now, Clever Man, Top End Wedding, which is I just saw on Netflix. It's the #1 movie in Australia at the moment. Just got released on Netflix. Yeah. And what's that one that he does with Aaron Pedersen out back Australia? Yeah. Mystery Road.
Yeah.
I didn't watch series 1, but I just started watching series 2. It's really fucking good.
Yeah. Wayne is.
You could get on series 3.
Yeah. I'm waiting for my gig, man. I'm waiting.
Surely he's going to put you on
that.
Hey,
I do such a good job of hiding, and whenever I go to Sydney, I seem to see these people like, yeah, you should do this. I'm like, cool, man. I'll go back to Brisbane real quick, and
I mean, there's so much acting work happening here at the moment.
Well,
there really is, because they can't
it.
shoot in America at the moment. And I got a few friends that screen Queensland, and my film festival has been over 6 years at Sanctuary Cove, the Sanctuary Film Festival, and just talking to them the other day, and the inquiries are through the roof because they've literally got hundreds of millions of dollars to make these films in the US, and they just can't shoot. So they're looking for other places around the world that they can go. So hey, man,
well,
you got.
I'll get my headshots ready.
How's your American accent? I think it'd be easier for you to do an American accent.
Honestly, I could probably crank an American accent.
Oh, you've got a bit of an American twinge.
Yeah, I can do the hey yo. I listen to enough country music. I can rock whatever. I definitely. I think I need a part that is describing the look because I can't. There's only so much makeup it's going to cover everything I got going on.
We'll get Wayne to write it, and he'll make it
instead
easy.
of handsome chiseled man, it'll just be handsome tattooed chiseled man, and then that would fit. Just
Absolutely,
get
man.
easy change.
Well, if you could play any role, what would you like to play?
I don't know. Hobbs from Fast and Furious will suit. The Rock. Anything The Rock is pretty good. Suits me. The look and everything.
Yeah, totally.
No, honestly, I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I don't know. There's no written pathway from doing that. You know, you have to really know people, and I've been trying to get in touch with Wayne for a little bit, and I'm just like.
But now you know I've got his number. And...
Yeah. Well, Wayne, if you ever listen to this.
No, you will, man. He's true to his word.
I've known him for a little bit, and he used to come up and chill at the house, and just talk stories, and we would share stories, and he's just always just like, no, we need to do this movie. And I'm like, the whole time I'm like, it's like when people ask me about doing a book, I'm like, can I just die first and then someone else do it? Let me do something cool first, Like, I had this crazy 10 years of my life where I was national championship, Super Bowl, White House, crazy stuff. But I'm like, I feel in my body, I feel like I got something better coming, I'm scared of what it could be, but I'm hoping it's something good, So it could be acting, I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe it is that life story because it hasn't all been, White House and championships, Super Bowls, and all that kind of stuff. You've been through some horrible things in your life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, but hey,
yeah,
I'd love it if you would. Good for the ratings.
No, there's been a bunch. More so the cancer, right? It was a wild twist of whatever movie or crazy plot has been written about me. I was 24. I was in the best shape of my life. I was coming into my third season in the NFL. And I'm putting a lot of work in, about to be a bit of a breakout year. Finally feeling good, and then it was about, I would say, 8 weeks away from the first game, and I just stopped pissing blood. And being the hardhead that I am, I sort of left it for about 2 weeks. And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, it's probably dehydration or something. I might have got hit. It's whatever. And I continue the blood. And I'll show you a picture. And I'm like, start pissing clots of blood. Like jelly. I was like, oh, okay, this is not good. This is starting to get weird. And I was like, I'll go tell the athletic trainer, which is the team doctor. I went in there. He was stretching Russell Wilson at the time, getting ready for a workout. And I said, hey, man, I got a bit of blood in my urine. And he was like, all right, give a sample. Pretty standard in the NFL, honestly, to have blood in your urine. He gave me the little cup. I went and gave the sample. I brought it back, and it was probably looked like that. It was probably a little bit more red, but that color.
What?
And he was like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, that's my urine. He was like, stop fucking around. He was like, what is this? And I was like, that's my urine. And he just ran off. I started to call an ambulance, to call the team doctors and stuff, whatever. So apparently it's pretty bad to have urine that looks like that.
Yeah.
And then, so I went and I told him, I said, hey, you don't need to freak out. I feel fine. He said, I'm going to finish the workout, and then I'm going to come back and we'll go on the ambulance. So I waited for the ambulance, did my workout, waited for the ambulance, and went to the hospital. And then, after a few days of tests and stuff, they found out my kidney was getting completely crushed by this tumor. And then, ended up finding out it was like a stage 4 type 2 renal carcinoma of the kidney, which is pretty aggressive and rapid cancer. And if I left it to another 2 weeks, I probably would have died.
No way.
And I was like, okay, this is pretty gnarly. So whenever I go and speak about this, I'm like, if you're pissing blood, tell someone right now.
Don't finish your workout.
Don't wait 2 weeks.
Go straight to the doctors.
There's one gift that you can get from me. It is do not wait. And
what treatment did you have?
I had my whole kidney and a bunch of lymph nodes around and a few other pieces of stuff taken out completely. And then I did some, they did like spot radiation on something, but mainly it was just the kidney. They hopefully got rid of everything. And then after I had the surgery, they were like, you'll be in there for a week. I ended up coming out the next day, and I'm like, once they took the catheter out, which was the worst part of everything, I pretty much was out. I was just like, had these 12 little incisions, and a robot took my kidney out. And then I was like, I need to go. You know, I can't be in hospital. And I think that night I was eating in my house. My parents come over from Australia, and everyone thought I was dying. And I told my dad, I said, man, I got 7 weeks and 5 days to the first game, so I need to get ready. And everyone thought I was crazier than they usually thought, including the doctors and team and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, no, I was like, please, like, just trust me. I said, I'm gonna be back to play. Like, I'm not waiting around another year to play. This is not how it's gonna go. And then as soon as I could walk, I was running. As soon as I could lift, I was going hard. And as soon as I could train, I was hitting. And
so you had the cancer cut out of you. 7 weeks later, back on the field.
Yeah, 7 weeks, 5 days later, I was back playing. I was back on the field in maybe 3.5 weeks running around. And once my stitches sort of closed up a little bit, even though I ripped them all, so the scars are way bigger than they should be because I was just like getting hit and just ripping the stitches out.
That is mind-blowing. If you didn't go to the doctors or get things checked, in a couple of weeks you would have been dead. Yeah, and you've gone and had the operation 7.5 weeks later. Yep, I'm fine. Let's go and win a Super Bowl.
Honestly, that's, I treated it like that. I treated it like I had the flu. The whole time I was just like, no, I'm fine. I'll be back. It's this, and this. And you know what's crazy? I didn't feel anything. Not until after the surgery. Before that, I was generally pretty fine. So that was the scariest part. I was like, I could have continued living and then just dropped dead somewhere and not known.
Yeah.
But then, I came back and I played.
That positivity really got you through, though. I know there's a lot of people out there that might find out they get cancer and they know that's it, that's my death sentence.
Yeah.
And their mind and their depression can sometimes kill them quicker.
Very much so.
And they sort of lose the will to live in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that positivity / just crazy. That sort of kept me going. Like when I was going, and there was those days where I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this, but really I was sort of like rewriting what people thought you should be able to do, and for me it was just another. I just thought it was like, oh man, another thing I have to get over before I can play or do this or that.
How are your family?
They probably were affected the most, and I tell people all the time, I was glad I got cancer. Because if it was my mom or my dad or my brother or anything, I would have been distraught. I'm like, man, how can I?
You probably would have dropped everything and gone back to Australia.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? Why can't I fix this? But it was me, and I was like,
yeah,
I know. I was in great shape, and I was like, man, I'm pretty hard-headed in what I need to do, and I'm quite determined, and I'm pretty comfortable with adversity, and I'm very, very comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I was like, let's ride.
Were you lucky?
I think I was lucky.
It didn't spread.
No, not that I could see of. I never really went into like full remission. I still technically have the cells. So somewhat like a ticking.
Do you have to get regular checks?
Yeah, I do get regular checks. It's somewhat like a ticking time bomb that could go off in 10 years. It could go never. And for me, it's just like a mindset thing. I've always sort of lived my life, as you can tell by what I look like, that my time is ticking and I need to do it to the absolute maximum. But for me, it was just like, not real. I never really had an epiphany and I was like, man, I need to change my life or be a better person. I felt like I was doing that pretty good, and I continue to do that. If anything, it just like reassured that like you have to do these things, like you have to be this type of way and like show people this is the way and do that sort of stuff. And that's what I've continued to do, and people see that. And my parents, like, I never really changed. I was the same person the whole time, and that sort of drove me home. It was just like, once I went from the NFL into coaching and helping, it was like, just I need to like help people and do stuff. And
so you see it differently now as opposed to back then, where you're like, right, it's just something I got to deal with, got to get through. But now looking back, you go, whoa, that was pretty damn full on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like in one way, I'm a huge believer of life is happening for me, not to me. It's putting me in a position to try and make something else of it. I'm not religious, but I do believe something is leading me in a somewhat direction. But then, from the other direction, looking back, I'm like, yo, that was really crazy. Like, I was in hospital essentially dying. And I didn't care at all. You know, I was in there just chilling, taking Instagram photos in the hospital. And yeah, now I look back on it, it's quite a heavy thing for me to use as a pivotal sort of like learning tool, and just like, yeah, shit can happen right away. And I tell people all the time, as morbid as it seems, I could die today. So I have to be comfortable with how I have treated and continue to treat people and behave and act and what I put into the world. And that's sort of how I live now. You know, I'm quite a positive dude. I've been through enough negative stuff that I might as well just start leading with positive stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to dwell on the negative, but you had a few injuries as well. Like,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
Stuffed your knees, a couple operations.
100%. You know, I had double-digit surgeries over in the U.S., and you know, I knew, this is the thing that I tell people whenever I go, you know, when you want huge things, crazy dreams, crazy goals, there's a price to pay, right? And sometimes the price is everything. And I went over willing to pay everything I got. I was willing to die about whatever idea or dream or goal I had. Whether I was dying training, dying trying to get it, I was ready to go. And it set me apart a lot of the times, but yeah, that's just how it is, man. Like you know, I have a lot of adversity, and when I go and, you know, I go talk to the NRL players at rugby union, everyone's like, man, it's crazy. How did you deal with so much adversity? And I tell people all the time, it's all relative, man. Everyone's life is like that. If I sat and dwelled over everything, I'd be bored as hell.
It's like depression, I guess. It's a state of mind. I mean, if you keep feeding the depression bubble in your body, you're just going to keep going downhill, and it'll probably give you cancer.
Yeah, 100%. I never really wanted to dwell on it. You know, even when I got the cancer, I was like, I'm in this cancer ward. All these people, essentially, you know, the time is ticking for everybody in here.
Very sad in there.
At a much rapid rate. And I see, you know, babies, you know, young kids, and I'm like, these kids don't even know what the hell's up and down, and they in here dealing with this life-threatening disease. And you know, I always kept it in my mind. I was like, if my mental psyche about everything is going to play a big role, I'm going to use it and weaponize that to be able to help me, not to adversely, you know, play a role in that.
Have you always been a super positive guy like that? And I mean, I'm detecting a sense of life coach in there. I mean, is that something that you've learned from all the stuff that you've been through, and something that you're coaching a lot of young kids now? Is that something that's just evolved, or has it always been a part of you that you might have learned from your parents?
I've always been quite a deep thinker in how things happen and why I choose to do things and whatnot. And I think my post-career and how everything's gone, you know, I do a lot of reading, I listen to a lot of things, I connect with a lot of people, and it sort of steered me in the direction of being more positive. And for me, I've been through enough negative stuff to add up for most people's lifetimes, so I've really, really tried to push on, I just want to be positive. You know, if it's something I want my kids, people around me to see, is that I'm not shaped, you know, like I tell people all the time, I had cancer, I played football, all these things, that doesn't define me as a man, as a person, as a father, or whatever. You know, how I define me is what I do every day when I get up. You know, the standard I set for myself as soon as I wake up. If I wake up and be a flog and treat people like crap, and treat me like that. But I don't, you know, I wake up and I treat everybody the same. I listen, I stop and talk and listen. I'll take photos with people, I'll chat with people, do whatever, and I try and emit some sort of positivity, because I know what it looks like being a professional athlete and being an ex-professional athlete, and seeing the ladder of that, you know, negative stuff come out.
There's not a real big ego going on about you. Has there ever been a moment where you thought, I better check myself a little bit here? It's kind of gone to my head. Or do you need that when you're playing in the NFL, trying to win the Super Bowl?
Not really. I never really was like, you know, when people were like fully churning on Tha Monstar, and I never really bought into it. You know, that was a name someone else gave me. I never really...
Who gave you Tha Monstar?
It was one of the ESPN writers wrote about it, and this is going to show how old I am. This was like when Instagram was just popping, like just getting popular in the US. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll just change my Instagram name to Tha Monstar, because they call me the Aussie Monster, but apparently that was taken when I went to do it. And I was like, oh, thank God no one calls me the Aussie Monster. That would be crazy. Yeah. So I just put Tha Monstar, spelt like Space Jam.
Yeah. Monstar.
Yeah.
And you got it.
And I got it. Well, this is, like I said, this was the early
That's
IG
cool.
days. And then it sort of just stuck. You know, I was verified when I was in college because of obviously how big everything was. And then, yeah, it sort of just stuck with me, and I never really bought into it. For me, I always wanted to be a person that whenever I came back, and my parents would at least respect. You know, I see a lot of. It never was like, never give a fuck about what anyone thought. I did the exact opposite. I wanted to care so much about what people thought. The harder decision in my life was choosing which people, and I always just made it around my family. You know, and that kept me, you know,
Kept you grounded.
Kept me grounded the whole time. I never cared about IG or what the news was saying. People could say whatever. You know, I've seen everything. You know, I read the comments. I'm looking at what people think or how I look or how I act or whatever. But let me go back and see all these articles. I don't see no bad articles. You go on, you type in Jesse Williams, not one negative thing will come up. And if it is, then it's probably someone else named Jesse Williams because it ain't me. But yeah, keeping my family close was really important, and keeping a good grasp on, you know, what's real. You know, like the NFL for me, it stood for not for long. So I had to prepare for what else was coming.
Who told you that? Not for long.
Every single person when you get to the
Really?
NFL. Yes.
Yeah, wow.
They're like, you know what this stands for?
What's the average career span?
In my position, it's like 2.7 years now.
Yeah, well.
And, you know, it's not a fun job for everyone. That life is not for everybody. And it's tough on your body, very tough on your body.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the knees, the cancer. What else was wrong with you?
I've done everything, you know, like broken fingers, neck's all jacked up, elbows is pretty common, wrists, like
Affecting
ankles.
you now?
I think just the old ages, you know, when it gets cold.
Old age. How old are you now?
29.
29.
I'm on the way out.
Come on. Man, the Broncos will be calling you up any minute.
Man, I keep checking my phone like, come on, Paul. Paul, your boy, I'm ready. I'm playing wing.
That's going to happen. Man, it's been so good to have you on the show. I've wanted to get you on for a while. Luckily, we've got a mutual friend that I could make a special call and get you in here. I look forward to following your movie career.
Well, as soon as you get it set up, and Wayne, if you're listening, I'm ready.
Wayne, tell him. Wayne Blair.
And cut. Jesse's ready.
Thank you, Jesse. Thanks for being on the mic. And they can find you at Tha Monstar, Monstar.
Yes.
And check out his Instagram. Maybe you want to hire him to take some photos. He takes a damn good pic.
I'm trying.
Good on you, mate.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.